This is CBC Vancouver News.
Patients are waiting exceedingly long waits to be seen, and there is less and less staff.
Surrey Memorial ER doctors sound the alarm about conditions in their hospital, saying they want new leadership at the top of Fraser Health.
The compensation has been the area that they've raised that we haven't yet gotten back to them on.
Plus,
this is not a bunch of BS designed to force the province to do something. This is reality.
Metro Vancouver mayors aim to make transit a key issue in the provincial election, warning of drastic cuts without more funding. And
we found things like Tyrannosaur teeth and teeth from horned dinosaurs.
Scientists make a major find in BC, discovering a trove of dinosaur bones. Hello, I'm Michelle Ghoussoub. Thanks for joining us. Emergency room doctors at Surrey Memorial Hospital say working conditions are so challenging, they're calling for new leadership at Fraser Health. The call comes after workers went public with worries over care and staffing last year. As John Hernandez reports, officials now say they're open to meeting with them.
Just over a year after hospital staff here met with provincial health officials over deteriorating conditions, emergency doctors say it's gotten even worse. On Thursday, Surrey Memorial ER doctors sent a letter to Fraser Health CEO Dr. Victoria Lee saying, quote, "Despite repeated and urgent attempts to alert you to the worsening conditions in our emergency department, we have received little response directly from you. They say the department has seen a 30% increase in patients since 2021, rising to nearly 180,000 visitors annually. But over that time, they say staffing shifts have risen by just 8% a month. Wait times for walk-ins often exceed 12 hours, and physicians worry it could soon climb to 24 hours.
I can tell you that I think that letter is very accurate.
Claudine Stornis-Bliss, a maternity ward doctor at the hospital, says there has been little change since physicians spoke out publicly last summer.
Patients are waiting exceedingly long waits to be seen, and there is less and less staff to be able to take care of them. And it's demoralizing for my colleagues.
The Premier and Health Minister responded to the doctors' concerns while gathered at the construction site for Surrey's new hospital.
As you can see over my shoulder, one of our key responses to take pressure off of the emergency room in Surrey Memorial Hospital, building that second emergency room.
But that ER won't open for at least 5 years. Physicians say the province needs to do a better job recruiting new doctors right now. They say better compensation could help solve the problem.
They've made a proposal around how we compensate doctors because they think that's a part of it, and we'll absolutely look at that.
Staff have also called for new leadership at Fraser Health, but its CEO says she has no intention of stepping down.
There's always going to be challenges in healthcare system, and I think we've worked with the physicians very closely.
Lee and Dix say the lines of communication are open and are willing to speak with doctors in the coming days. John Hernandez, CBC News, Surrey.
It's been 3 months since BC's first chief scientific advisor for psychiatry, toxic drugs, and concurrent disorders was appointed. He'll be heavily involved in the province's plan to expand involuntary care. And he's now addressing concerns about the potential trauma of patients being forced into treatment.
I will monitor how the unit that we're opening on remand impacts the well-being of people that are incarcerated with mental health and substance use disorder, how the approved home impacts the life course trajectory of those folks, and how the new mental health centers impact the outcomes.
The Premier announced this past weekend the province would open mental health units at correctional facilities. It said regional facilities would also provide long-term care and housing for those with mental health needs. As we told you on Monday, the federal government is relaxing some mortgage rules meant to stimulate the housing market and help younger buyers get in. But as Mira Baines reports, there are questions over who will be the real winners.
Loosening of some mortgage rules could see buyers qualify to take on more debt to buy homes. The new rules appear to be targeting younger buyers struggling to qualify for missing middle housing.
It is going to put the dream of home ownership in reach for more young Canadians.
Two significant changes include increasing the insured mortgage cap from $1 million to $1.5 million to help Canadians qualify for a mortgage with a down payment below 20%. The other big change is expanding eligibility for 30-year mortgage amortizations to all first-time home buyers and to all buyers of new builds. The new rules kick in on December 15th.
I just concerned how people can afford to live out here. Even dual incomes making $150,000 to $200,000 is still crazy.
I'm more concerned with the interest rates being high than that.
Are the changes enough to get Gen Z and millennial buyers the keys to a new place? This Vancouver-based realtor is cynical. He says it's an effort to help developers of pre-sale condos that are facing challenges with buyers who need to complete sales but can't afford to.
The government has deceitfully framed it as a tool to help first-time home buyers, and I actually think it's a policy measure that is brought in to support the banking industry and the development community.
Inventory has been building across the province. Sales are down by 20% year over year, according to the BC Real Estate Association, and things could shift after mid-December.
Welcome news and should help stimulate a little bit of demand into next year. There's enough listings right now to absorb that demand without causing prices to really accelerate.
Interest rates have also dampened sales. There is some speculation whether Canada will see deeper rate cuts going forward, stimulating the housing market. Mura Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
A Vancouver Canuck forward has announced he will miss the start of training camp after being diagnosed with testicular cancer. Winger Dakota Joshua says he underwent surgery to remove a tumor. He says the last several weeks have been extremely challenging, though the operation was successful. The 28-year-old says he plans on returning to play as soon as possible, and he's encouraging men to get checked regularly for testicular cancer. More than 2,200 mayors, councillors, and other local officials from across BC are in Vancouver this week for the annual convention of the Union of BC Municipalities. As Chad Poston reports, this year's conference comes just a month before we head to the polls, which means this annual gathering is extra spicy.
Leaders from BC cities, towns, and First Nations are here with a clear focus. They want help from senior levels of government.
The message we're passing is that we are definitely stretched to the limit when it comes to the financial piece.
Municipal leaders here argue that property taxes simply don't go far enough to respond to things like unmet mental health challenges of people in their cities and towns and the resulting street disorder. At the same time, the province is asking cities to build vast amounts of new housing, while in cities and towns, their infrastructure is crumbling.
We're dealing with more social issues, we're dealing with more housing issues, we're dealing with natural disasters. The list goes on and on.
Princeton continues to recover from devastating flooding 3 years ago. It's trying to come up with $84 million from a tax base of 3,000 residents. The town's mayor says both senior governments need to step up. It's already been denied once from the federal government.
We were denied along with Merritt and Abbotsford. Right now, I would say our biggest challenge is getting those federal dollars into not only British Columbia, but into small towns like ours.
Municipal leaders here do acknowledge provincial help, but say they need more, specifically a cut of the provincial property transfer tax to subsidize affordable housing and respond to homelessness. They also want an additional $650 million in infrastructure funding, plus an annual percentage of the provincial carbon tax as it increases, all to support local climate action initiatives. It could be a tricky ask. For one, the provincial government is swimming in red ink. The deficit sitting at $9 billion this year. Help from the carbon tax is also in limbo, as current Premier David Eby says he would eliminate the 16-year-old tax if Ottawa got rid of laws requiring it. It's a promise John Rustad has made as well. Municipal leaders here say, though, the money must come from somewhere that's not local taxpayers.
But for us, it doesn't matter where the funding is going to come from. We are highlighting that we do need that, that financial help.
The CBC's Chad Pawson reporting. Well, Lytton's mayor says costly archaeological studies are limiting people's ability to return home more than 3 years after a monster fire destroyed most of the village.
The delays and costs associated with these studies are placing an overwhelming burden on the residents who are already grappling with so much loss.
Mayor Denise O'Connor says the province ought to pay for the studies, which are required before building permits can be issued. More than 90% of the homes in Lytton were leveled when the fire broke out in 2021, and since then, just 15 permits have made it through that process. Well, it's good news for an endangered orca population off the BC coast. The Centre for Whale Research has spotted a new calf in the L-pod. They believe was likely born 3 days ago. The centre says the baby is tiny and is currently nursing and moving as expected. The mother and calf were first seen along the San Juan Islands in the U.S., then in the Harrow Strait off Vancouver Island. The L-pod is the largest of the 3 southern resident killer whales observed by the centre. And scientists have made an incredible find high up in the remote mountains of northern British Columbia, a treasure trove of dinosaur bones. And that discovery is changing the very notion of where dinosaurs once lived.
This year we came back with over 90 dinosaur fossil bones. One day we went to a new spot on the mountain and started finding bones all around our feet. So we were just picking them up off the surface. They've obviously just been weathering out of the ground there for some time. And we found things like tyrannosaur teeth and teeth from horned dinosaurs, and then lots and lots of chunks of big dinosaur bones that we now have to sit down and figure out what they could be. It's not a place that people really expect to be hearing about dinosaur discoveries. It's also possible that these might be species that have never been described before. The environment is really different from other places in North America where we find dinosaur fossils. So in places like Alberta and Montana and Utah, most of those dinosaurs are living along an ancient coastline. And here we're actually finding dinosaurs in the mountains that also would have been living in the mountains 66 million years ago. Here in BC, up in this Fatsizi Plateau area, that would have been mountains on both sides. And these would have been dinosaurs living in these little mountain valleys with streams and rivers. And it probably didn't look a lot different than it does today, except the mountains would have been even taller. Now we just have to figure out what exactly we have, which will take a long time. It's a slow process. We have to clean the bones up out of the rock and try to identify them. So these discoveries, you make a lot of discoveries in a short period of time in the field, and then it takes a long time to figure out what you've actually found. But that's kind of the fun, exciting part of it.
Award-winning BC singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan is being honored with a Canada Post commemorative stamp. It was unveiled at a ceremony at the Sarah McLachlan School of Music in Vancouver, which she opened more than 20 years ago.
I am a deeply proud Canadian, and I'm so honored to be featured on a national stamp and to be in such amazing company with the incredible women and so many other remarkable Canadians. This is honestly still one of those pinch me moments. It's amazingly cool, and I wish my dad was here to see this. I love to think that someone could put my face, my stamp on a letter, and it could end up anywhere in the world and brighten someone's day. Music has saved me for all of my life.
I don't want to talk.
I'm so incredibly grateful to have been able to continue to provide the gift of music to so many children and youth who otherwise might not have the opportunity.
Someone dear.
Residents at a seniors' care home in Burnaby were treated to a nostalgic outdoor experience Monday night. A classic drive-in theater was recreated just for them, and the CBC's Shariak Shatri brings us their story.
Blanche, do you have the new schedule?
Yes, Miss McGee. I just had my hands on it.
It's a dose of nostalgia, the sound of movie speakers, the smell of buttery popcorn and hot dogs fill the air as seniors at Dania Long-Term Care Home relived one of their favorite pastimes, a trip to the drive-in.
Be our greatest year in riding.
It's been 20 years since resident Roy Stacy last went to an outdoor cinema.
The experience of going out somewhere, you know, go with your girlfriend.
Now enjoying the show with his wife.
But she wasn't my girlfriend then, so don't say anything.
Seniors using wheelchairs, some with cutout cars attached, shared laughs. Others sat on their balconies enjoying the movie with snacks and drinks. The feature film, Grease.
Well, I've never been to a drive-in before, and I've never seen Grease before.
Organizers say it's a way to tap into fond memories that may have faded over time.
They remember when they were younger, as teenagers, going in the car, hiding their buddies in the trunk, or their first date with their girlfriends, and now they're able to share this experience with their families here.
Care home assistant Algin Fructoso donned a different hat for movie night.
It's a great experience, right? We don't do it often, but with this kind of experience, you know what? It's worth it.
Craig McCulloch says events like these help him strengthen the bond with his 91-year-old father.
They're important. They make all the difference for residents, because I'm here every day to see my dad. And there's nothing worse than doing nothing.
Tanya Holmes says it hopes to make drive-in movie a regular event, bringing more moments of connection and nostalgia. Shaurya Chetri, CBC News, Burnaby.
Coming up, a heated scene as NDP leader Jagmeet Singh confronts hecklers outside of Parliament. As federal politicians report, they're facing increased public harassment. That story coming up. To Ottawa now, in a heated moment on Parliament Hill, federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh confronted a protester who was heckling him, calling the man a coward. As Olivia Stefanovic shows, politicians are no strangers to being confronted, but it's becoming increasingly common and more aggressive.
In this heated political climate, members of Parliament are becoming used to being followed, questioned, and taunted.
Were you voting non-confident tonight if it came up? Corrupted bastard. Want to say something? What? Want to say something? Want to say nothing? Who said that? You got something to say?
But for NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, this particular provocation went too far.
Was it me? Was it you? No. You sure? If it was me, I'd admit it, buddy. Was it you or not? If it was me, I'd admit it. What'd you say then?
Singh got up close, confronting two men after being insulted.
My word, you sure it's not you? No, 100%. You're a coward. You're not going to say it to my face. That's what's up. Say what? If I said something like that to you, I'd admit it.
The incident unfolding right in front of the Parliamentary Protective Service.
It happened here, just steps away from the House of Commons, where around the corner protests are ramping up.
Targeting the Prime Minister and other elected officials on their way to work.
Why are these people allowed to get so close to us?
It's left some MPs shaken.
Somebody's going to get hurt, and I think what happened today was an absolute disgrace that a national leader was left by himself to defend himself.
This isn't the first time Singh has faced aggressive verbal attacks.
Why did you lie about it?
And he's not the only one.
Christia, you doing in Alberta?
The Deputy Prime Minister, part of a growing number of Canadian politicians facing hostility.
Think of all these protesters.
They're right to be there.
Still, most MPs say demonstrations should continue, as long as they remain peaceful.
It's a difficult balance because I want the Parliament to be the people place also.
But it's the people at the center of our politics, increasingly facing confrontations as part of their public life. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
Here's a live shot of downtown Vancouver. Darius will have your full forecast next.
Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
CBC returns as the exclusive media partner of Splash, Arts Umbrella's annual gala and art auction, October 5th. The event supports children and youth programming through arts education. For tickets and information, visit artsumbrella.com. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC Vancouver's e-newsletter at cbc.ca/Vancouver Inbox and keep connected with us.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace. To cool and clean the air in your home, call Direct Buy Furnace. Installing Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
And Darius Madavi joins us now for a look at the forecast. But Darius, I know you're very excited about the moon tonight.
Yes, I'm excited about the moon every night, Michelle, but this is a night when everybody's excited about the moon. It's a supermoon. What does that mean? It's the time when the moon is making its closest approach to Earth, and at the same time we have either a new moon or a full moon. A lot of people don't know that supermoon also refers to the new moon, but since you can't see it, people get a lot more excited about when it's a full moon. Now, a supermoon isn't necessarily something that you'll notice just with your eyes. It's only about 7% bigger than a normal moon, but it is about 15% brighter, so you might notice that at least. This is also the harvest moon for this year because it is the one closest to the fall equinox. And then we also have actually 4 consecutive supermoons in the next few months. We had August, September, October, November. All of those are supermoons because it's when the moon is closest to the Earth. Now, with that being said, are you going to actually be able to see the supermoon? If you look out your window right now, some of you are luckier than others. Some parts of BC easily seeing the moon tonight. Other places, it's a lot more cloudy. Now, is that cloud going to stick around? Well, it depends where you are. We have this trough right now affecting this brought us to the showers. This brought us that cloud. Next, we have a ridge of high pressure building in, going to clear out some of that cloud, clear out some of that showers. And then throughout the rest of the week, we sort of have a battle happening between the high and low pressure systems to the south and to the north. But generally expect some cloud to come in and out if you're in southern BC. But overall, it shouldn't be too dramatic. And then another ridge of high pressure builds in late Sunday for what, at this point at least, looks like a clear start to next week. Now, again, most of those showers are done now. We have that cloud coming in and out over the next few days here on the south coast. Over the rest of BC, it's a fairly similar story. Expect to see some showers and some windy conditions, especially up in the north, but pretty much everywhere else. Fairly calm conditions, seasonal temperatures. Expect pretty much everywhere temperatures to stay similar to where they are now. If anything, come up a couple of degrees because today was a bit of a dip, especially here on the coast. Across the board tomorrow, again, some cloud, some sun, nothing too dramatic. And that's a story here in Vancouver as well. Michelle, I will note, Environment Canada is saying that both Thursday and Friday are going to be totally cloudy, rainy. I don't see that in the forecast, but if that does happen, I'm sure you'll let me know, Michelle.
All right, and a reminder to people to look out your windows tonight. Thanks, Darius.
Thank you.
And that is your late news for Tuesday. Thank you for watching. For news at any hour, you can always go to our website. That's cbc.ca/BC. Have a great night.